Today we ask the hard-hitting questions in TTRPG reviews, such as, can Beadle and Grimm's create a better Gamemaster journal than the 5-subject spiral-bound notebooks that I buy at Walmart? Beadle and Grimm's, game on. Let's talk about the Gamemaster journal published by Beadle and Grimm's on today's episode of The Local Disaster Tour Guide. Hello travelers and tourists, my name is Mark and I am the local disaster tour guide. That's right, I am a storyteller who is here to question whether or not 8 pages of notes for player characters is enough to cover everyone at the gaming table. And I still have people mad that they don't have a spot at the table. Welcome to a journey through the fantastic world of TTRPGs like Pathfinder and Starfinder, and welcome to a TTRPG mini review, as today I'm going to be reviewing the Gamemaster journal published by Beadle and Grimm's. Now I will go ahead and tell you, this review was not originally on my schedule for this channel, but I actually won this at a Christmas party, and when I got it I was pretty excited to see what Beadle and Grimm had come up with for a Gamemaster journal. I will be very honest, I'm actually very picky when it comes to Gamemaster journals. I've seen a lot of products like this over the years as a storyteller, and honestly these are products I normally do not invest in because honestly I'm just really picky about what I want. Typically if I'm running a campaign I will buy a 5-subject spiral bound notebook from Walmart and I will use that as my campaign notebook, and part of the reason I do this is because I can set these notebooks up the way I want to set them up, and I can make sure that all of the stuff I think is important is in the notebook. It's not that I don't appreciate what companies are trying to do in developing campaign journals, but I just know that I am very particular myself, and the idea of spending extra money on a notebook that may not have a setup that I like is just one of those things that I've always been very hesitant about. But I do have to say, when this popped up at that Christmas party and I had a chance to win it, I was pretty excited because I do know that Beadle and Grimm does good work. This small leather-bound journal is just shy of 200 pages, and it retails for about $30 on Beadle and Grimm's website. I will also let you know they have a similar player's journal that I did not win at the Christmas party, so I haven't had a chance to look through that one. But this is available for about $30 on their website, comes in at about 200 pages, and has several intelligently laid out sections to help game masters as they attempt to plan and run their campaign. To share a few other features of this book, as you can see, it comes with a couple of bookmarks that you can use to mark important pages, and I will go ahead and say there is definitely a page I would consider permanently marking if you use this book. And I'm not sure if it's going to be visible on the camera, but it has tabs that are cut into the side of the pages, allowing you to very quickly thumb to whatever section you might need. There is one more feature of this book that I would like to point out. The back of this book actually has a small section that you can use to store index cards, notes, or other things that you might need to carry with you as a game master. And I will show you that that section does neatly hold the bestiary battle cards that Paizo publishes. So while you're not going to be able to put a lot of stuff inside of this journal, it is very feasible to bring active notes for your current session with you whenever you bring this journal to a game. Now obviously the company Beadle and Grimm did not request this review. I just happened to pick up the Gamemaster journal at a Christmas party, and I was excited to take a look at it, but longtime viewers of this channel may know that I actually have done some reviews for Beadle Grimm in the past. For example, a while back, they sent me some copies of the Complete Wizard Chronicle and Complete Rogue Chronicle for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. These are basically book-sized super character sheets that they developed for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And if you've seen those reviews, you would know that I was actually really impressed with the quality of these products. These products, by the way, are still available over at Beadle Grimm's. I am recording this video in January, and the Complete Character Chronicles are actually on sale right now. This video will probably be going live in February, so I don't know if that sale will be ongoing at the time this video goes up. But if that sale is ongoing, even though these books are pre-remaster, I think that the sale is a pretty good deal. If that sale is ongoing, I would strongly recommend these. So what I'm saying is, even though Beadle Grimm did not ask me to do this review, I have done reviews for them in the past, and I want you all to be aware of that up front. They did not ask for this review, so obviously they did not try to influence this review, but this is a company that I've had a good working relationship with in the past, and I want to be upfront about the fact that this is a company that I tend to hold in high regard. So, as with any review that I do on this channel, allow me to say the most important thing to remember is take this review with a grain of salt. I am just one person on the internet offering my thoughts, offering my observations, so the best review you will ever have of this product or any other product out there is always to check it out for yourself. So if you have the opportunity to check this product out, maybe at your fine local gaming store, I would strongly recommend doing that because that will ultimately give you the best idea if this product is right for you. Still, what I'm going to do in this video is try to offer my thoughts, my praises, my criticisms, and maybe give you an idea if this is a product you should check out. Before we get into the review proper, please remember to do all of that YouTube stuff that helps to support the channel. If you enjoy content like this, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can check out my free Discord or my Patreon. Links to that will be in the video description, along with a link to Beadle Grimm's website, where you can check out this product for yourself if you are so inclined. Doing all of that stuff helps to support the channel, but please remember that the most important thing you can do is jump down to the comments section, join in the conversation, and leave your thoughts, your ideas, your questions. I love hearing from you all, and if you have a question about this product, feel free to ask. I would be happy to answer it. So, with all that out of the way, let's get started. Okay, since this is a mini review, I'm not going to be deep diving every single thing that can be found in this Gamemaster journal. I'm going to try to hit the highlights and talk about the stuff that stood out to me, but as with any review, I would like to begin at the end, give you my overall thoughts on this product, and then work my way through the contents to help you understand how I came to that conclusion. So, my overall grade for the Gamemaster's Journal by Beadle Grimm is a solid A. I think this is a pretty good product, even if it's at a price point of $30. To give you a bit of a financial comparison, this comes in at about $30, and the spiral-bound notebooks that I tend to go to at Walmart, these typically run me about $6 or $7, and when you add in some of the other Gamemaster supplies that I get at the start of the campaign, I'm usually paying somewhere between $10 to $15 for my Gamemaster supplies, which means that the Gamemaster Journal is only running me about $15 to $20 more than what I would normally spend. So yes, this journal is a little bit pricey, but honestly I feel like the price is reasonable considering what I'm going to use this product for. However, before I go any farther in this review, allow me to say I totally understand that $30 for a Gamemaster journal might not be what you want to spend, and that is completely valid. And I would certainly note that I definitely wouldn't pick one of these up for just any campaign. I would only use one of Beadle Grimm's Gamemaster journals if it was for a campaign where I knew that the journal would be the proper fit. So that is definitely something that you will want to take into consideration. Now I want to talk a little bit about the things that I like and dislike about Beadle Grimm's Gamemaster Journal. First up on the things that I like, and this is going to come as no surprise to anyone who has used a Beadle Grimm product, this book is high quality. The cover is very durable, the pages of this book are very thick and are designed for you to write in and erase and write in again. The pages aren't going to tear very quickly. The size of the book is very convenient for easy transportation, and as I pointed out earlier, this little storage pouch in the back of the book that allows you to carry your monster notes or other small index cards with important session information in it is a very nice touch. Beadle Grimm has a reputation for making quality products, and the Gamemaster Journal lives up to that reputation. I think it is a solid product in that regard. Another thing I really like about this campaign journal, and one of the reasons that I would recommend this where other campaign journals fail, is Beadle Grimm has done a good job distributing the space inside of this journal appropriately. One of my big complaints with a lot of Gamemaster journals that I've seen is they just don't allow for the right amount of space for different things that you might need to record as a storyteller. Now, we will dive into specifics when I go through the content of this journal, but one of the intelligent things that Beadle Grimm does with this journal is they split the pages up to cover key, major, and minor elements of your campaign. So, for example, they may have key locations, major locations, and minor locations. And the space that is afforded to each of these topics is actually appropriate. Anything in this journal that is labeled as key, whether it's a key location, a key NPC, anything like that, they give you 2 full pages to record all of the relevant information for that particular item. They give you lots of space. Less important items still have room inside of this journal, but they are given a correspondingly smaller amount of space for you to record information, because honestly for those items you don't need to record as much information, and I feel like Beadle Grimm did a good job striking the balance for how much space different items inside of this book truly need for it to be useful to a game master. And this is honestly a principle that applies intelligently throughout the entire Game Master Journal. They give you space to sketch important things for your campaign, but they don't give you so much space that you feel like entire pages have been wasted. Over a broad range of categories, Beadle Grimm has done a good job of laying out the space in an intelligent fashion, and I definitely appreciate it as a storyteller. However, there are some weaknesses for this product that are worth discussing, and one of the things that you need to ask is this journal going to be the right fit for the campaign you're about to run? Every group's schedule is a little bit different, and every group's needs are going to be a little bit different, so figuring out exactly how much journal you need for a campaign is obviously going to be a bit tricky. To give you a point of comparison, my group typically games every other week, and my campaigns typically run 2, maybe 3 years. This journal, based on the pace of my normal campaign, would probably last me for about a year, maybe a year and a half. So, for my typical campaign, this journal by itself would not be big enough. Now, I think 2 of these journals side by side would actually cover one of my campaigns really well, and for a campaign that is running less than a year, this would be perfect. This would fit the needs of my group almost to the T, and I suspect for most groups that game at least reasonably regularly, you're probably going to look at a journal like this and get somewhere between 12 to 18 months use out of this journal before you just run out of space. Is that enough for your campaign? That's a question you'll have to answer for yourself, but it is something you need to consider if you're looking at this product. Another thing that is not necessarily a negative for this product, but that could be pertinent for some people is, this is a smaller book. This is a journal-sized product, not a full book-sized product, and I imagine for some people they might have preferred a larger product. For me, I think that this would fit comfortably behind the Gamemaster screen, and the weight on this thing is really good, so I think this is especially fantastic if you're a Game Master on the go. But anytime that you have a smaller product, that does mean less space inside the product, so that is a trade-off you need to think about if you're looking at this particular item. For me personally, Beadle Grimm's Gamemaster Journal is a reasonable size for something I might use, so I don't think that the size is a problem, but if we're being realistic, if you're the kind of Game Master who typically writes on something this size, you might notice the difference. Now I would like to cover the different sections of the Gamemaster Journal, and this is going to be a brief overview of what each section has to offer, so you know what you can expect to find if you were to pick one of these up. The Gamemaster Journal is divided into 9 official sections, and then it has a small set of appendices at the end that I think Game Masters might find useful. The first section of the journal is for the characters in your campaign. This section has enough space to cover 8 player characters for your campaign. There is a little bit of extra space if you have more than 8, though to be honest, I don't think there's really enough space to effectively go above 8 characters. I really think 8 is the practical limit of what you can use this book for. Still, if you're one of those game masters like Matthew Mercer, who has a table full of 7 people that you're running for, this journal will effectively cover a group that large. Amateur. Section number 2 is called Pre-Game Prep, and it includes space to cover topics that you will discuss at Session 0. It has sections for planning your game and figuring out the calendar. And in one of my personal favorite pages in the entire Gamemaster Journal, they have a 1-page party stat sheet where you as a Game Master can record the armor class, the hit points, the various important modifiers for your characters that you might need to quickly reference. They just have 1 page that is dedicated to keeping all of that information easily accessible to the GM. I absolutely love that page, and as I've noted, the pages are thick enough that you can erase and rewrite so that as your players level up, you can keep that page up to date. Sections 3 and 4 are for the world and important locations inside of your game. The world section is intended to cover things like the timeline, the factions, the major religions, important events inside of your setting, and then the locations chapter is exactly what you think it would be, a place to detail the important information of the important locations where your player characters are going to go and the things that they might discover when they get there. Section number 5 is set aside for the important NPCs and creatures inside of your setting. This gives you pages to detail important villains or allies that your PCs might have to deal with. It gives you space for reoccurring NPCs that could show up over the course of multiple sessions. And it also has a number of small sections where you can record notes for minor NPCs that have the chance to show back at some point in time, but that aren't necessarily worth the full 2-page spread that the key NPCs are going to have. Section number 6 is the shortest section of the entire journal. It's the campaign plans. Basically, it's a few pages to record the overall outline of what you're hoping to do with the story. Though the fact that Beadle and Grimm put plans in quotation marks in this section speaks volumes about the truth that all GMs know, that anything you plan can and will be disrupted by those crazy player characters that you are trying to somehow corral. Essentially, Section 6 is a broad overview of your campaign that leads into Section 7, which is designed for planning out major encounters. Now, honestly, of the various sections in the Gamemaster Journal, this is probably one of the weakest to me. They have space reserved for 12 major encounters, and then space for several minor encounters as well. And honestly, for me as a storyteller, who typically runs games that last more than 2 years, this is the section of this Gamemaster Journal that makes me feel like this journal would not work for all of my campaigns. I feel like in my typical campaign, I would run out of space in the encounter section long before I ran out of space in some of the other sections in this book. And if you are a game master who tends to run longer campaigns, you're probably going to want to be very selective about which encounters you decide to include in this particular section, because the space here is just not quite what I would like it to be. If your campaigns don't run as long as mine tend to, it's not going to be as big a problem, but at least for me personally, Section 7 is one of those areas where I wish they had offered just a little bit more. Section 8 is labeled The Game, and this is basically your session and campaign notes section. As you complete sessions, you can record notes, events, what happened, and even write out some of the humorous or entertaining events that happen in a given session. Basically, this is where you can keep track of what happened after the game is over. Overall, they give you space for about 20 sessions, though with the way the pages are laid out, I honestly feel like most game masters could combine several sessions into one of these records. So even though they give you about 20 sessions worth of space. I honestly feel like this section is laid out in a way where you're probably going to get 25, 30, maybe even 35 if you're careful, sessions worth of space out of this. It's a pretty solid note-keeping space, and it is something I definitely enjoy. The last official section is called the Campaign Recap, and this is a section to note how the campaign ends, who lives, who dies, how the player characters have impacted the world, and what dangling story threads might still be out there that could be picked up in a future story. And this is actually a really cool thing about a lot of Beadle and Grimm products that they have brought back to the Gamemaster Journal, in that the final version of this product is presented in such a way that you end up with kind of this small book at the end of the game and go back and relive all of the cool moments from the story that you and your friends told together. You're not necessarily going to use the campaign recap during the story, but once the campaign is over, it is a pretty cool feature that allows you to go back and kind of relive what happened. I really like that touch. It's a cool thing that Beadle and Grimm does with a lot of their products, and I was happy to see it here. Then, of course, at the end, you have a few pages of appendices, and this is going to have a few random generators. So as a storyteller, if you need to come up with an off-the-cuff quest really quickly, you can roll a few dice and spin out a random scenario for your players to go through. They have a discussion of some different safety tools and just a few other small things that a Game Master might find helpful throughout the course of a campaign. And with that, that covers all of the content you can expect to find in the Game Master Journal by Beadle and Grimm. Like I said, I really like this product. I think the quality to price point is really good, so long as this product is a good fit for the size of campaign that you're planning on running. If you're planning on running an extremely long campaign, this might not be enough for you, but for a mid-length campaign, this could be an incredible fit. But the time has come for me to turn the conversation over to you. What are your thoughts about Beadle and Grimm's Game Master Journal, and do you have any questions about this product? If you do, jump down to the comment section, let me know, I'll do my best to answer them. And if you've picked up this product, what do you think about it? If you haven't had a chance to look at this product, what sort of things do you look for in a Game Master's Journal that help you determine if it's a good fit for you? Be sure to let me know, and don't forget to do all of that other YouTube stuff that helps to support the channel. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can check out my free Discord and my Patreon. I have links to those in the video description, along with some links to Beadle and Grimm's page, so you can check these products out for yourself. But as always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Have a wonderful day.